Hello class 10, once again I am before you with the chapter called the sectors of the Indian economy. In my previous video I explained that what type of activities are done in primary sector, in secondary sector and tertiary sector. Today I am going to explain that how these sectors, whatever they produce, goods and services, how they are included and how GDP is calculated. What is GDP and what do we mean by intermediate goods and final goods? So intermediate goods are those goods which has to be processed further and which is being used in the production of final goods, and final goods are those goods which is ready to be consumed and which is to be sold and which does not need further processing. So while calculating the GDP, we take up only the value of final goods are included. Intermediate goods prices or value is not included in the GDP. Why intermediate goods prices are not included? Because already the price of intermediate goods, the value of intermediate goods has been included in the price of final goods, and intermediate goods needs further processing. It is not ready to be consumed, it has to be processed further. So that is why its value is not included while calculating the GDP. Now the question is, what is GDP? GDP is the value of the total goods and services, final total goods and services produced by primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector in a year. So this is done by the central government ministry who does it, who calculates the GDP, and the GDP of the country or any economy tells it that where we stand and what is the position of the country in the world. So according to the GDP of India, India is the fifth economy or biggest economy in the world. So our GDP is increasing because production in primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector has increased. But recently due to COVID corona, everything or production and everything has gone down, and that is why the GDP is not increasing. And last 5 years what we have seen that the GDP is still only, or it has become stagnant or going down because of no production and or due to depression. That has also means our economy is also has got affected due to this, and in developed countries also there is this depression or there is happening in China, in America, and due to COVID corona in almost all the country they are suffering, they are affected by this. So GDP, as I have told you earlier, GDP is the value of the final goods and services produced by the three sectors: primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Means GDP is the sum of the final value produced by the primary, secondary and tertiary sector in a year. Now we will see that which sector is contributing more to the GDP. Which sector produces more goods and services. And as we have discussed earlier in my previous lecture video or so many June classes also that I have taken with you all, and there we have discussed that primary sector where the natural resources are directly used and products are also natural one. Then the output that is being produced by primary sector, it is being used in the secondary sector as input. And then so one sector function and development affects the functioning and development of the second sector. And in this way we have discussed that all these three sectors, they have to work in coordination and they are interrelated. They need each other's help, and nobody can run independently or is self-sufficient in itself or say that I am perfect, I can do everything by my own. So everybody has to take help of the other. Primary sector, if they have produced the products, if they have made the raw material or extracted the raw material or minerals, then it has to be used, it has to be sold, it has to be transferred to the secondary sector. Then only the secondary sector can progress or can make the products that he mix in various types of industries, and then both the sector they exchange or they take up each other's product with the help of the tertiary sector, because tertiary sector does not produce goods, but the services which it provides, it is very essential and it is very much needed by both the sectors to continue with their production, to get all types of helps. So what services are provided by tertiary sector? Of course, transport, communication, banking, insurance, health, skilled brain, tourism, and many more services are provided. So directly it does not, these services does not help in production, but indirectly these services are very much needed and essential to produce the goods and services by primary sector and the secondary sector. So in this way what we have seen that GDP is very much important, and every sector has to produce more, to contribute more, to grow the economy and to make it a bigger or the developed economy in the world. So in next class I will see that how the sectors can be compared and which sector is contributing more to the GDP. Thank you.